Welcome back to the Bootleg Studios of Rant Social. And in this episode, I want to talk about the religious and cultural confusion in the so-called black community in America and in Europe as well. But I'm going to focus on America for this episode. And what you see pictured here is two brothers claiming to be Moors, and I'll let them speak for themselves. But in this episode, I just want to unpack how there's so much confusion in our community. You got guys claiming to be Hebrews. You got guys claiming to be Jews. You got guys claiming to be Islam. You got guys claiming to be Christian. You got guys claiming Buddha. You got guys claiming Jehovah's Witnesses. Just across the board, you got guys claiming 5%er. What else? What else? You got guys claiming Hebrew Israelites. And I made a video about the Hebrew Israelites. But in this episode, I'm going to talk about all of them. You got guys claiming Egyptian lineage. Walking around wearing ankhs on their neck. Okay, so I just want to get into this a little bit. I'm going to let these brothers speak for themselves right here.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions, UGR TV. This is your host, Brother Rich. And I'm in the building with the Moore Science Temple number 13. Now, it's weird. We're going to get right into the show, but it's weird because what happened, I didn't expect to have this interview. I came in here. I'm supposed to interview Captain Tazariak from the Hebrew Israelites, and I see the Moore Science Temple in here. So I said, yo, what the hell y'all doing in here? So they tell me they doing an interview with the Hebrews. So the first thing I want to know, brother, say that.
We doing a lecture.
Right. So what I want to know, and I want the people to know, is why would the Moore Science Temple be doing a lecture with the Hebrew Israelites? What's the connection there, y'all?
First and
foremost, he doesn't answer the question, but watch him.
foremost, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Assistant Grand Sheikh Tunde Sadat Rael.
Peace. And I'm Grand Sheikh K. Yusef Bey. I want to give praise to the Most High and give honor to all divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. Give honor to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali in his last day and times. Peace.
What? What did that Negro say? He want to give praise to who?
Foremost, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Assistant Grand Sheikh Tunde Sadat Rael.
Assistant Grand Sheikh. I'm sorry, y'all.
Moore Science Temple in here. So I said, yo, what the hell y'all doing in here? So they tell me they doing an interview with the Hebrews. So the first thing I want to know, brother, say that.
We doing a lecture.
Right. So what I want to know, and I want the people to know, is why would the Moore Science Temple be doing a lecture with the Hebrew Israelites? What's the connection there, y'all?
So they could drum up some more crazy Negro babble about ancestors they got 5,000, 6,000 years ago, so they can get together with all their notes and quotes and knowledge about nothing. But I'll let them talk.
First and foremost, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Assistant Grand Sheikh Tunde Sadat Rael.
Peace. And I'm Grand Sheikh K. Yusef Bey. I want to give praise to the Most High and give honor to all divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. Give honor to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali in his last day and times. Peace.
Islam and all the viewers out there.
You talking about confusion. This is what I'm talking about. Who the hell is he giving praise to? Every goddamn God there is?
Rael.
Peace. And I'm Grand Sheikh K. Yusef Bey. I want to give praise to the Most High and give honor to all divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. Give honor to the prophet.
Why is he giving honor to his mother and father and his grandfather and his grandmother and his uncles and aunties? Why is he giving? That's what I'm talking about. You got a whole bunch of lost black people reaching. They reaching for a pie in the sky. They want their relatives to be something other than Negro slaves. They want to come from a great line of Confucius kings and queens and dripped in gold and ivory. These niggas want a fantasy.
Noble Dralinas, last day in times. Peace.
Islam to all the viewers out there. I want to give it Islam to everyone. We stand for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Again, we give honors to the Most High, Father God Allah, all divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and last prophet of these days and times, the illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali. And we are here today to give you some of the history and the connection between the Moors and the Hebrews. A lot of people don't really know.
Why, if these gentlemen are of a higher spiritual path and learning and wisdom, do they still have to wear the nigga uniform of chains and rings? Why you gotta have on that chain there, brother, and that ring? You want to be a rapper? In all reality, you a failed rapper, more than likely.
About this history, and they want to separate the two entities, but there is definitely indeed a divine connection between the Moors and the Hebrews historically. A lot of people not aware of, whether it be in the continent of Africa, whether it be here in the Americas, in Europe. We understand that the Moorish Empire, the Moorish nation had Hebrews within that particular movement. And today we're going to talk about some of the indigenous tribes who had a life that was synonymous with Hebrew culture, such as the Lenape, or otherwise known as the Lenabe. They spoke a language that was very similar to Hebrew. Some of the Cherokee.
If all of us so-called black people was part of these Hebrews and Moors, how come none of us don't have the language? How come we all speak in the King's English? You mean none of us could recollect that language? Nobody in my family tree ever spoke no goddamn Hebrew. I could tell you that for a fact. So I don't know where they're getting this information from. I really don't. This is some fantasy that they reaching for, man. They talking about shit that happened thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, that have nothing to do with them. These brothers always want to skip over their own family tree. Just because they both brown, that don't mean they come from the same people. I can clearly see there's genetic differences in them and their bloodlines, but they gonna claim they come from the same place without actually tracing their own family history. It's unbelievable. Like, I have a great-grandfather that's an Irish immigrant. Okay? I have a great-grandmother that's a Sioux Indian. Okay? And of course, then I got the black American slave in my lineage. But these brothers want to create some fantastic lineage that they come from and skip over the pain of the recent ancestors, because it's not cool to say you come from such and such that was on a plantation for 150 years. That doesn't sound cool, and it doesn't give them a boost to their ego. This is all ego-driven BS, by the way.
Or Kitiwa, they spoke a dialect very synonymous with Hebrew. They celebrate the Sabbath. They wore the Star of David. They had fringes on their clothing. And
how come none of this was passed down in our so-called black families here in America? How come none of this information was passed down until you niggas got into a library in a jailhouse somewhere and started digging this shit up?
Some of the Lenape who migrated over into the Americas during the 18th dynasty of, I believe it was one of the Kemetic pharaohs.
Here we go. Talking about pharaohs and shit. What you niggas know about pharaohs? If you look at the hieroglyphs, pharaohs were giants. Okay? So how the hell do you come from a line of giants and you regular height human being, 6'1", 5'11", whatever y'all are? How the hell y'all come from pharaohs? Pharaohs were giants. All you got to do is look at the hieroglyphs. and hear these Negroes talking about they come from pharaohs. Please.
They came over here with a version of the Bible called the Septuagint that was written in Greek. And so I'm going to expand upon that when we give the lecture with the Hebrews in regards to how this information influenced the Constitution as we know it today, along with the Great Law of Peace that was a document that the Iroquois Confederacy was responsible for, and the role it played with the Constitution.
Peace. And also, the ancient mound builders of Northwest and Southwest of Mexico, which is America, which is known as the Washington the Mayan Empire. Within that empire, they had heat.
Here we go, talking about the Mayan Empire. What does that have to do with you, your parents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, your great-great-great-great-grandparents? What does that have to do with your immediate bloodline? Okay, what does having knowledge of all of that bullshit that you can dig up about Egypt and Kemet and all of that shit gonna help you fix your roof? Fix a leaky faucet. All right? Figure out if your boiler's not working correctly. Check your septic system. Come on. Do you guys know how to protect your plants from certain bugs that would kill off plants that you're growing? Do you guys have any practical knowledge? But you always talking about some bullshit from 3,000-4,000 years ago that you really don't have any proof of none of this shit you talking about. No proof. And even if you did, so what? Now what? We living in 2022. What information can you bring forth to help people in 2022?
Rules that was a part of that ancient empire. And also, if you read a book called A Star in the West by Elias Butterno, who was a president during the Continental Congress, he stated when he came in contact with these indigenous, woolly-headed, dark-skinned people, they wore fringes, they kept the Shabbat, and they spoke Hebrew, which was a form of Algonquin.
Oh God, let's look further down into the black confusion. Here's another brother here talking a lot of this Egyptian pharaoh stuff, man. He goes way back to the 90s.
Themselves.
Where's this guy? Here,
Continent was also called Ethiopia.
Him.
So that, and in many ways, I don't really think it's hidden. It's there. It's just that they're not allowing us to understand. According to Dr. Finn, the original name of Africa was Alkebalon. Africa, the whole continent, was also called Ethiopia. As a matter of fact, the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea. So
we are in America. Our forefathers were in America. What the hell is talking about Africa and what it was called before and all that shit gonna do anything for the black Americans here? What does going back in all this history gonna do? Gonna change. You make changes and where they make laws. Okay? And you make changes in politically to help a people. All of this talking about ancient history ain't gonna do a goddamn thing for nobody right now.
there were several different names. Africa was really described by different tribes. It wasn't a whole monolithic society. But eventually, they named Africa after a European. Africa was not called Africa. It's actually named after the one who actually conquered the Carthaginian Scipio Africanus. So they usually, the Roman types of system is that the conquering general gets to name the region he conquers. He gets to
blah 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 blah.
The alphabet and writing and all of those great things that they have.
Now, I'm not talking down on this sister here. She actually has a lot of intelligent things to say. So I'm not going to talk down on this particular sister here, Shahrazad Ali. So I'll back out of that video. How to understand the Moors.
And talk about our role as Afro-descendant people in establishing Moorish legacy.
Diaspora, that's the new one of the new catchphrases of the so-called woke people.
Here, and welcome back to another video of
Diaspora.
African history, culture, and worldview. Occasions, you'd even hear Europeans differentiating between the so-called white Moors and black Moors. There are many Moorish dynasties we can discuss, but my focus will be the Almoravids and the Almohads, so please keep that in mind. When the African diaspora thinks about a Moor, they tend to think of the black soldiers or rulers who conquered Spain, but we hardly ever refer to the names of the actual dynasties who accomplished this. It's important to be specific when speaking about Moorish history. When Islam spread across North Africa in the 7th century, many Africans converted and created their own Islamic armies to further the cause. These armies later became known as the Moors to various Europeans. It may surprise some of us to learn that black soldiers have been used in the Middle East since ancient times. They were not new. It was only because of the mobilization.
Okay, so here we are, Moors, Moorish society. Okay, but black Hebrew Israelites. Here we go.
Aleph. They make 100% halal.
Who is your God? Who is the one you worship? And how do you worship him? And how do you know him? I just want these things. Like, I want to know who is the God you worship? How do you know what his attributes are? And how do you worship him?
Okay, well, let's read his attribute. Let's read his attribute.
Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
All right, then. That's his attribute.
Okay, so is that only a known for? It's just a man of, it's just a God of war.
Is that it?
Once again, why do they have on a rapper's uniform? Like I said, this dude here with this goddamn Star David, whatever that hell is on his neck, he looks like he really wants to be a rapper. You know, but he couldn't get a contract. He couldn't get a record deal, so he settled for being a goddamn Hebrew Israelite, standing up there. Ain't nobody gonna give him a bank loan to build nothing looking like that.
Guys, I'm not here to make anybody laugh.
Yeah, man, come on, man. No, dialogue. Listen, everybody's free to believe.
No, what's the dialogue? What's the dialogue, bro? That's the whole point. What's up? No, but why are you laughing though? What's the dialogue, bro?
He operates a laugh.
It's
You
a
can't be
dialogue,
angry
bro.
with him for laughing.
Hey, hold it. People want to be educated. This ain't a
No,
joke.
it's
This ain't a
fine.
laughing stock, bro.
No, because
Come on, my bro, man.
people don't make him laugh.
Oh, people
No,
don't.
this
Hey,
is
bro,
not-
relax, brother. Relax,
Let him
relax.
laugh. Let him laugh.
Okay.
He's free to laugh. It's a free country.
I know what, bro. People are trying to learn, bro.
I hear you. But listen, if we be patient,
Bro, come.
if we be patient, one second, let me come to you. If we be patient with each other, brother, hey, I don't know if you brother. But listen, if we here in the circle, if he laugh, he had the right to laugh. He might find, one second, he might find something funny. But we ain't gonna stop so y'all can argue about no laughing. Hey, come on. Let him laugh. He had the right to.
Okay, no. How can I refer to you guys? Do you have a name? So I can call you.
ISUPK.
IS?
UPK.
Oh, come on, I'm making sure.
ISUPK.
Can I call UPK?
The UPK.
Okay, UPK. Okay, the UPK brothers, yeah? Firstly, I don't agree with the whole laughing thing. Reason why is because I'm not here to make a mock of you guys. I'm here to learn from each other. So even in our religion... That's my point. That's the point. When we're talking to these people, I'm not here to make points over you or make you look stupid. Because that's not my point.
But I can't control what makes a man laugh.
No, I know.
So let's not go into that.
Yeah.
No, the Lord is a man.
Now this is a really confused black man here. He got a West Indian accent, whether it's from Barbados or Jamaica or Trinidad, and he got a goddamn turban on his head. Here in America, oh, he's really confused. And he got a Star David or whatever that shit is around his neck. Oh boy, he's really confused. And he's in all black. And Caribbean people are colorful. They wear colors. He's totally lost from his roots.
100%.
Right, the Lord is a man of war.
Now, when you say man,
the Lord is his name.
When you say man,
the Bible says he's a man.
Okay, what do you mean by
Hold on,
man?
let me finish. The Lord is a man of war. That's it. He's a man of war. He's a man. He's a man. He's not a woman. He's a masculine spirit. He's manly. It's a man.
man?
He's a man of war.
Okay.
Why we say he's a man of war? What he's doing right now is war. You try to bring your point and I'm standing on mine.
100%.
Exactly. Everything is war. Ukraine on Russia is war.
The
sun, the moon, the stars is war. Sex is that halfway war with your woman.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. Listen, you gotta get in there and get in there. And after that tour, you're tired and sweating on the bed like you're frozen.
Okay. So is that his only attribute? That he's a man of war?
That's the main attribute.
That's the main attribute.
That's the main
Okay, for
attribute.
us, one of the main attributes is that God Almighty is the most merciful and very merciful. Yeah? One of the attributes that, okay. Now, this God, how do you worship him? If you're talking about...
Let me ask you something on that point. No, that's not where I can interject. I can interject if you permit. If he's so merciful, how come that you had some of the people who believe in your God doing unmerciful acts, namely terroristic acts to other people?
That's right.
If your God is so merciful.
Okay, so I think that's a good question, but it doesn't really make sense because what you're trying to say in a nutshell is that basically God Almighty is the most merciful, but there's people who follow his religion, they go and do acts of atrocities. How do you connect that and tie that back to the most merciful?
Because they say they follow your God.
Okay, but so how does that, so for example, the person who went and did the Christchurch attack, if he came and said, I did it in the name of, I don't know, a tree, do we go and blame the tree? So for example, you guys believe in a God of wrath and war. I'll say to you, why are you guys standing here all, like, I don't know, not masculine at all? I can say that, no disrespect. I can say
whatever you
no,
want.
I can say that because I'll say you follow the God of war, who is masculine, and his main attribute is war, and I understand you guys, some of the way you guys move, I've had interaction with you guys before, not you specifically, the ones in Oxford Street, and the thing is, I can say, why are you guys not in perpetual war?
They're not UPK.
Okay, but different.
All right, now we don't listen to this for goddamn how long now, right? Did we, audience, just put in the comment section, did you get anything so far between this religious babble here going on? Nothing. Zero. Right? This guy he says the Arabs and Moors enslaved the Africans. So these people claiming Moors, right? And Arab is claiming peace, right? These people are claiming Jews, and he said the Arabs enslaved them. Let's go.
The enslavement of Europeans. Sorry, the enslavement of Africans by Europeans. A whole lot of people understand, at least not understand, but hear something that relate to how the British come here and the Spaniards come in the Caribbean here and take away. They take away from Africa and bring around here for them sugar cane and them cotton. But there is a part of slavery that is hardly spoken of. And it do have nothing to do with white people. It has something to do with the Arabs. The Arab slave trade. The Arab slave trade lasts longer than the white people slave trade. And we hardly hear about that, and maybe it's because a whole heap of black people see themselves as Muslim. Why them talk less of it. Now we know that the Portuguese was in Africa. And the Portuguese in Africa is a really serious problem because even Christopher Columbus, a lot of people don't know this, but Christopher Columbus was one of the sailors them on the Portuguese ship who got into Africa. And there is a pathway to Europe that no one spoke of or speak of when they talk about enslavement of black people. And that is the trek across the Sahara Desert into Europe, into what they call Southern Europe. Them used to take our ancestors, chain them up and carry them across the desert and carry them into France and all the other places. So it's not every African who was enslaved, they come to this part of the world. No, sir. A whole heap away, they go across the Sahara Desert. But even within that, before the Europeans go there, the Arabs then take hold of it because they were spreading them Islamic religion.
Now, this man say, all you black Islamic people and Muslims, that y'all really had this religion adopted through being enslaved. The same way black Americans was being enslaved with Christianity. Same story. Okay. So this is the confusion I'm speaking about in the black community. Here's a goddamn black guy say he's a Jew.
Jerusalem, the city of gold.
After they presented themselves, they would come and pray. And the most interesting part about this Pacific Western Wall.
Oh, no. He ain't grow up over there. This is a nigga from Detroit. Oh, it's a nigga from Detroit. It looked like he gave up being a Rasta, and he's a goddamn Israelite.
And this is the actual prayer. This is the actual Western Wall. Yeah. But understand something. This is not the temple wall. This is the Mount Zion wall that David created before Solomon created the temple. The temple was on this hill right here. This is Mount Moriah Hill.
Tel Arad is an ancient site close to the Dead Sea. It contains 5 layers of history, including findings from the biblical era. For the average person, it is indeed an impressive sight, but not a holy one. But Hoshua Amerial, who arrived here from Chicago in the late...
What did I say? I said Detroit. This is a nigga from Chicago. Your folk ain't from over there, fool.
1980s, is convinced that these are the remains of biblical Jerusalem.
David was right there, and he was first made king in Hebron. Hebron is right there. You see, so what David did, David came out of Hebron. The first act he did, he came out of Hebron, down into this area, surrounded by mountains, not on the top of the mountains.
See, he want to believe in something. He want to believe he come from something holy. He trying to look as holy as he can. He dressed like a nativity scene, like one of the 3 wise men. All he need is a goddamn cape. This is ridiculous. This is a nigga from Chicago pretending to be from holy Jerusalem. Listen, I'm not denying that there was black people there. There's black people all over the world. But so what? That ain't got nothing to do with your bloodline, your recent bloodline, man. These is fantasies black people want to have because they've been pushed down and put down so much in America that they grasping for straws. They grasping for anything that will give them a boost in morale. That's all this is. And this is what is creating all the goddamn confusion. What is this? Ahrar Mayama. That's not what his mama named this nigga. I say what they got to say.
Hey, family, where y'all at on this time? What's your nationality? All of y'all El Salvadorian? You would be an Israelite from the tribe of Zebulon.
That's right. That's right.
Tribe of Zebulon.
That's right.
You see it right here? So-called Guatemala to Panama, Zebulon. Ancient Mayans. The ancient Mayans. So y'all are God's chosen people. We are God's chosen people. Right.
Once again, why you got on all the gold chains? This is a consistent theme here amongst these failed rappers. Here's another failed rapper. He got on the pinky ring, the gold. He's either failed rapper or failed drug dealer. He done went to jail. The white man whooped on him and broke him. So he's scared to sell drugs now. So he gonna come out here and sell goddamn Hebrew Israelite fantasies. But these men, look how they dress. They not gonna get no business done. They cannot walk into a bank, okay, or any financial establishment and get any assistance to opening a temple to where they ain't got to preach on the street. Okay, these Negroes here are a joke. All right, you know everything about what happened 10,000 years ago. But could you actually build that building that you standing behind? Could a group of y'all get together and do any gardening? Could y'all even treat that area right there with them bushes and things like that? Can y'all build them steps behind y'all? More than likely, no. Because y'all focused on bullshit fantasies that supposedly happened 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20,000, 200,000 years ago.
Right. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Negro and Indian descent, God's chosen people. Have y'all ever heard that before?
See, this is where they miss me. It's easy to convince people that are searching for something and tell them, you know what? You one of God's selected people. But what they fail to mention is, how come the sun shine on everybody? The sun don't selectively pick who is going to shine on. The sun shine on everybody. Rain comes down on everybody. Oxygen is breathed through everybody's lungs. Unless you are an aquatic animal and you breathe it through the water through gills. So how could there be a chosen people? This is stupid rhetoric. It's stupid rhetoric from the Jews. It's stupid rhetoric from the Christians and their 144,000 chosen. I had issues with that when I was coming up in church. A chosen people. All these people that go to church and fucking synagogues think they're the chosen fucking people. Just ridiculous bullshit.
You heard, what did Kendrick Lamar say? See that? You see that? Yeah, that's right. What was his name? Carl.
All these niggas learn this shit in jail. Yeah, I can see that very easily. None of these niggas is college educated. None of these niggas don't have no real skills. I could just see. I could just see, look how they carrying themselves and look how they fucking dress. This is why no one takes them seriously. This is why this whole Black Hebrew shit has no credibility.
Carl Duckworth. And he called him, he said, and then Kendrick Lamar said, I'm a what? I'm an Israelite. Don't what? What did he say? Don't call me what? Don't call me black. He said that word is only a color, it ain't what?
I'm in agreement with that. But we all accept every color code that America gave us, from Negroes to colored, to Black Americans, to Afro Americans, to African Americans. We accepted every one of them. All right. So, but the problem is we don't have a uniform culture and a uniform religion for all of us to come under and say, no, we're not this, we're that. What we have is a whole bunch of different Negroes talking a whole bunch of different shit with a whole bunch of different philosophies. And some of them try to tie their philosophies together when they want to unite, like the Moors and the Hebrew Israelites. Okay. But other than that, there's no unity. Even amongst the Christian sects, you got so many different denominations of Christians, Black Christians I'm talking about. There's no unity there. There's no Islamic unity because you got the Nation of Islam and then you got regular Muslims. They don't see eye to eye. They're not together. One of them shaved their head face and the other ones don't believe in growing beards. All right. This is a joke. And this is why there's so much confusion in our community. Yeah, I'm going to go a little long with this one. I'm not going to make this a short one here, man. I'm going to go a little long with this one. And then you have people like Kanye West that's confused. He claims Christian and Jew at the same time, depending on what day he's talking, right? Here we go, more videos of confusion. Indians and Moors. Now, if you're a 14-year-old and you're looking for yourself and you don't realize to look right in your own family, you start reaching.
A crew of his ship, right? Moors and Sephardic Jews trying to escape the Catholics.
So the book is called Spanish Settlements with...
Most of these things are artist depictions. They're not actually photographs. If you really want to start looking for truth, find real photographs that weren't photoshopped, there was nothing added. All of these things are artist depictions. Okay, unless they come out of certain books that's certified books, that they come from a certain place, okay? Mr.
I
Farrakhan.
want to be very, very quick with this because I know you don't have a lot of time. But I have written you, I have written your son, Mustafa, I've written Ishmael. I've met Ishmael before. And I've been trying to get a meeting with him in regards to this information that I have from Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali mentions Master Farad Muhammad twice in his literature. He mentions a man named Ford. And in my temple, we teach that Master Farad Muhammad was, in fact, Noble Drew Ali's teacher. And I want to personally ask you, sir, what would you like me to do with this information? I've been wanting to get it over to you. I have the writings. I can read you what Noble Drew Ali said about Master Farad Muhammad. And I just want the world to know this information. I believe in my heart that it would end so much confusion, so much hidden lies that have been going on since 1929 when the messenger was rolled up in 1931. As you know, there's been a lot of conflict between the Moorish Americans and the FOI, and it should not be because they are both shot from the same bow. And I'm convicted because I have these writings in front of me. I have this information. This is not something that...
What is your name again?
What is your name, bro?
Ahmadi Muhammad.
Ahmadi, my dear brother, I wish you would come and we'll sit and talk and hear what it is you have to say. I will say this to you, sir, that the first time that Elijah Muhammad came to New York after I had accepted Islam, Brother Malcolm was alive at that time and his New York minister. The first, it was October 1956. I'm sorry, 55. Elijah Muhammad spoke on two men who were the forerunners to him. Noble Drew Ali was number one, and Marcus Garvey was number two. He said to us, that was the first big speech outside of a temple that I heard Elijah Muhammad speak. And on that day, he lifted Noble Drew Ali, that we should honor him, respect him, and study what he did as a forerunner. We had many who were followers of Noble Drew Ali under the name Bey and Krim and other Islamic names that came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we never clashed. We never clashed with our brothers from the Moorish Science Temple. Number two, whatever you know that we can prove the truth of that would benefit both of us coming together as Muslims to augment the teachings. When I say augment, raise the teaching to a level that we are not now in 1929 or 39 or 49. We're in 2016 soon.
My issue with these guys talking in religious circles, okay, is they are not teaching practical life skills. They're just not. You can't go to a Moorish temple or a Nation of Islam temple nowhere and learn gardening, learn carpentry, learn plumbing, computer science. You got to go to the so-called white man and get these skills. Why ain't y'all teaching it, brother? All they talk is that they kicking knowledge. Knowledge of this, knowledge of self, knowledge of this, knowledge of that. But when it comes to the real knowledge that we need for everyday living, why is it that you always got to get it from the white man? This is my issue with you brothers. And y'all talking in circles and just creating more confusion. That's all y'all doing. There's no uniformity amongst this shit. And there ain't none. right? Let's get into the Egyptian Kemetic community. I'll just type up a name that I will off the top of my head, something like Sunsetty or something like that. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if that pops up something. That wasn't his name. All right, when we talk about Kemet, watch what comes up. Kemetic centered living, Kemetic spirituality. "42 Laws of Mott." Why I left Kemet. Dr. Ben on Kemetic spirituality to Adam and Eve. Real Kemetic knowledge and history.
I would like for you to join me as I welcome my dear friend, Baba Haru Ra Samai Se Patha. He is the chief priest of the Shrine of Patha. Join me as I welcome him to African Scholar. Baba. Tatapu. You know. Thank you so much. You saw that. I remember when I first met you, which was many, many years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to even go into how many years ago in this broadcast. Right. But I do.
I hear them speak.
That's true.
Talk, brother. Talk.
People to the Nile Valley culture, and he was a follower of Marcus Garvey, and he said that as I grew up and I matured, we have these conversations, and he would say that his reading of the Bible indicates that African people are children of Ham. But he said that the original name in the Hebrew was...
Once again, this might be another failed rapper or producer or maybe even dancer. Why all of these religious spiritual brothers got to have on these chains? And they going to point to ancient artwork and listen, royalty wore jewelry to show that they were superior to their subjects. And this is the problem with all of these niggas. They think they superior to regular people because they think they have knowledge of self. And they put themselves on a pedestal. But you still look like a buffoon. You can't go nowhere and get no financial help looking like this here. Right? If you wearing this type of costume, you niggas ought to have a school, a hospital. You ought to be teaching Kemetic language, so we not speaking English no more. So we have a second language, just like all the other foreigners that come here with a language that they can talk to their people with. You ought to be having Kemetic trade schools. Yeah, teaching real Egyptian mathematics and engineering, but you niggas don't have none of that because you niggas is charlatans.
Comb. And that the original name for the place now called Egypt was Kemet. So therefore, and which means the Kem in the ancient language.
This nigga is probably a nigga from Cincinnati or something. A nigga from a nigga from Washington D.C. or some shit like that, talking about ancient Kemet.
Which means burnt, blackened, or hot. So that King James did not add the K when he called us children of Ham. And he said, my work was to study the Nile Valley culture, and as I grow up to teach our people about that culture because...
Because what? What is it going to do for us right now? How is it going to help me put some money in my pocket right now? How is it going to help me help my family? How is it going to help our nutrition? How is it going to help the siding that's going bad on the side of the house? How is that going to help us redo the siding? How is that going to clean the gutters up on the roof? How is that going to help me figure out what's going on with that check engine light in the car. Come on, man. This is bullshit. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of goddamn black confusion. How to pray based on Kemetic science.
No time or space, only the depth of experience. Okay, and going to explain this this idea a little bit, and text of something that I know that many of us have experienced, and it's like, have you ever experienced someone that you immediately?
And you might ask me, well, what do you believe in, brother? Where do you come from, brother? I come from my father, who came from his father, who came from his father before him. It's as simple as that. I talk to my father on a regular basis to try to get to know myself, and I realize a lot of stuff runs in the blood. I'm very similar to him in a lot of ways. He probably was very similar to his father in a lot of ways. Get to know the people that birthed you. All of this talking about goddamn Kemetic history and shit that you know nothing about that happened 5,000, 6,000 goddamn years ago. Here's another one here, Bobby Hemmett. Fast talking, slick talking Negro. He really be talking a bunch of crazy shit. This nigga is like a combination between a Baptist preacher and a witch doctor. This nigga Bobby Hemmett. Ashe. He talking about Kemetic concepts. Ashe, they not even doing this over there in goddamn Kemet, what he talking about.
In Germany.
All the shit he talking, they not even doing over there in Africa. This is goddamn another charlatan, Bobby Kemetic Hemmett.
So Russia, getting rid of communism, but as the spirit did, they threw the monkey wrench in for the United Europe, and you had Bosnia break out. Okay? Now, they put out the material to actually combat you and put a fear in you.
Bobby Hemmett looked like a blues singer. Yeah, Bobby Hemmett is a failed blues singer from Memphis. That's what he looked like.
Right? Now, as a result, it backfired on them because the Europeans in the pocket started taking the material and getting serious with it and established militias.
All these spiritually woke, super Kemetic Egyptian niggas know everything the white man done to us, right? But they can't do nothing to reverse it. They can't do shit. They not out there and doing shit to reverse it. All they doing is talking about it and giving you some literature and some fucking more books to look up and read up and search up, but you ain't getting no practical knowledge on how to advance yourself and your family. Fuck what happened 5,000, 10,000 years ago.
You understand? To counter what was really meant for you. So as a result, the spirit has been holding them back from putting this new world order in because...
If Kemet is only one part of Africa, how the fuck we all come from Kemet?
Now, they got to try to put this new world order down by June, but they understand, well, look, based on the Dogon, when I get into the real science of the time, if you know that this is the time now to bear witness, you would have started 10 years ago. You would...
Listen, how come every nigga's talking about the Dogon over here in America? You can't even go over there to the Dogon tribe and have a communication or anything because you don't speak the goddamn language. You understand? If you're going to speak on the Dogon tribe, at least have a Dogon tribe representative so it comes out his own goddamn mouth. How do you speak the King's English, fool? You can't communicate with the Dogon tribe.
Wait till the end time prophecy will start things. If the white man was really going to make his move, he would have started it in the 80s when black people were deaf, dumb, and blind. You see, greater than that even in the 70s, but he didn't have the power to do that.
See, once again, he's speaking in generalities. He's using the color code. And anytime you see people using color codes when they talking about history, don't trust what the fuck they talking about. Everybody's not the same. You couldn't put all white people in the same. Okay, you can't tell an Irishman that he's the same as an Italian. The same way you can't tell an Italian that or Irishman that he's the same as a German. Okay, they gonna tell you no, we not the same. The German is gonna tell you he ain't Russian. Okay, the North Korean is not gonna tell you he's the same as a Chinaman. Okay, so all of these color codes they like to throw out in this country, and when I hear someone talking about ancient history and they using color codes, nah, bullshit. But I'm gonna stop it here. A lot of confusion going on in the black community. If you want to teach your child or yourself, educate yourself about your background, start with your own family. And if however far you can branch out from there, okay. But it starts with your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-great-grandparents, so on and so forth. All right? Get the knowledge of your family and your personal history from them so you don't be reaching for Kemet. You won't be reaching for Moors. You won't be reaching for Egyptian shit. You won't be reaching for Hebrew Jews and and all other kind of shit. All right? You won't be reaching for all of this confusion. Because all of it is a bunch of fucking Negro confusion. They done a hell of a job on us in slavery in this country. A hell of a job. All right? This has been Rand Social. Peace.